Hello Naps! Welcome back to my channel! Today is the second week of Halloween 2020 and we are going to be working with Scarwax, otherwise known as Syn Wax if you have the Mehron brand. Scarwax is something that many people struggle with. It's horrifying sometimes. It never quite does what you want it to. But we're gonna try and go through the basics of it. And in doing so, I'm also gonna dip into some bone wax as well. This one is a Nye brand. So we're gonna play with that and it should be pretty fun. As always with this Halloween series, I'm not doing the educational portion of my content this time around because they're meant to be slightly shorter videos that are only focused on one subject. So yes, here we are, Scarwax. We're gonna start with some prosthetic adhesive. If you have Pros-Aid, that's great. My Pros-Aid has died. So, until I get new Pros-Aid, I'm going to use the Nye Prosthetic Adhesive. So, I should be starting on a clean face because it'll stick better. I guess this means I have to take off some of my makeup. Clean slab of skin. So, the reason we're starting with prosthetic adhesive is because it helps it stick. So, I'm gonna be doing a cut across my cheek. We're gonna start there. Remember, like I said in my first video linked up there, you always want to make sure that you know the story behind your special effects makeup thing, right? Get my little metal spatula out and attempt to scoop the goop out of the Scarwax. The more you work with Scarwax, the more your body temperature heats it up. Like any wax, it has a really low melting point, which is great for when you're actually trying to work with it. But the hard thing is also, you're continuing that contact, which is why it's kind of difficult to use Scarwax. So that temperature doesn't really go away in that area that it's attached to the skin. I'm also gonna dig into and get a little piece of bone wax out just to kind of show you how it works as well. Bone wax is much stickier than Scarwax is. It gets everywhere. I'm going to start out with the bone wax because I'm going to pretend that this cut is deep enough to have gone to the bone. So I'm just kind of playing with it. Oh yeah, my prosthetic adhesive should be good. Maybe it dried a little too well. Gotta get a little more on. Okay. Not wait as long this time, but wait a second for that to kind of start doing its thing. Pretty sure you can also use mineral oil on your hands to try and get it to be less sticky with this. I think it's mineral oil. Because especially for the bone wax, it's very sticky. It does not want to get off of my fingers. Okay, back on my face you go, you little noodle. I'm gonna go in with my metal spatula. Metal is really nice if you have like one of those wooden clay tools. That might not be bad either. The point with the metal is that it's A, really easy to clean off, and B, in theory, sticks less than some other tools. Ugh, I'm just gonna sit here and fiddle with it until it's kind of the shape I want it and try and take off some of this excess bone wax here. Throughout this process, you want to be really careful with your edges as well because everything is so pliable. Also, do not put it on a highly plastic area of your face. Don't want it to be super bendy. This was one of the areas that I figured would probably be safer for me giving a video. I don't know if you've noticed, I talk a lot with my T-zone. So I figured that would probably not work well. I'm gonna scrape off some of that extra stuff. Okay, so if you can see, I'm trying to show you the edge a little bit. There's basically just a small bump there. You're building over top of your skin, so you want to be really careful that you don't want to make it sticking out too much because otherwise it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look like there's any way that it could be that thing. Break your synthetic wax, your Scarwax into pieces. Double check that there's no bone wax left on your fingers because it will start to color it. Basically, I'll make it into a little rope. Yeah. You want it to be the size of my cut. Prosthetic adhesive that I had on there is definitely dry and mostly being used for the bone wax. Oh gosh, hair. Bane of my existence. Same thing that I did with the bone wax, but instead of going on both sides with this one, I'm gonna just really go ham on this outside one. I have to be careful with how much I move my face because it will change it. I'm not gonna mix the bone wax and the putty. Not gonna do it. If you are working on an area that moves a lot, we're going to be putting something over top of it. It's called Fixitive A. That will help mitigate some of the effects of the highly bendy areas. Mitigate, but not completely take away. I don't even know why I'm going with the tool. The best tool is my fingers initially. And at this point you're probably like, well this is nobody's skin tone. Ugh. As with all special effects makeup products, they're not exactly supposed to be skin tone accurate right off the bat. Usually what you do is you color it to match. I believe you can use foundations for it. I'm really just trying to keep this from getting in my hair, but part of me is also trying to rationalize why it is the way it is. The story of the makeup, you know. So sticky. Stop being sticky. I can't remember if this is latex friendly. Okay, so it doesn't say it has latex in it, so this might be something you may be able to use. I would double check because there might be some other name for latex that I'm unfamiliar with. But if you have a latex allergy, you might be okay using this material. As with all makeup, it's pretty much just fiddling with it enough to figure out how to get the look you want. And then figuring out how to get it in smaller amounts of time. Because if we each gave ourselves like all day, we could probably all figure out how to do all sorts of makeup stuff. But alas, we do not all have all day to just play with makeup. I like this tool a lot. It's got a little point, so you can get pretty good edge control. What do you guys think so far? Looking okay? Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in, I kind of started doing it up here already, but I'm gonna make sure that my like pieces are separate. If I wasn't using the bone wax, what I probably would have done is just rolled out one piece of the Scarwax, gone along, and then like cut a slit down the center of it, cut a slit, put a line basically in the wax down the center of it with my scalpel tool, but because I'm using the bone wax, it changes stuff up a little bit. And I really want that little bone peak in there. Once I do this though, I'm gonna go back in with my Fixitive A. This is Mehron's brand. And it's got a little brush, and I'm gonna basically just paint over top of it. What is Fixitive A? It's kind of like a top coat of nail polish. You don't want to be harsh with the painting. You want to just kind of go over top of it. Make sure you get inside your little lines there. You want to protect that part too. Clear liquid plastic sealer. It says you can remove this with spirit gum remover. So most makeup removers, like most prosthetic makeup removers, should take it off. Because I mean, spirit gum remover is nothing crazy. And I think spirit gum remover might be oil-based. So you might even be able to use like a mineral oil or like a coconut oil. But I should point out, I am not a professional. A lot of this is guess and check. A lot of this is self-knowledge. So there is a chance that I'm wrong. Fact check before you do. That's why we're here, right, Naps? Because we're not professionals and we're just trying to figure things out. It should almost have like a, ooh, when you get plastic wrap or saran wrap and that kind of stick into itself sound, that's what it's starting to sound like. And that little layer is gonna help protect it from getting into all sorts of trouble. Oh gosh, I gotta remember how to do this. 90% of the time, the answer is to powder. Is this one of those times? I'm gonna double check. Okay, after some quick digging, basically it should be good to go to paint after this. But the key thing you have to remember with the wax is the wax does not like water-activated paints. You can feel free to use your cream paints. I believe your grease paints are okay. And also your alcohol-activated paints should all be fine. And I also have my Nye Master Bruise Wheel here. And I'm gonna start with my basic red, and I'm gonna go inside my cut. And you don't wanna cover up your bone sticking out. You just kind of want to go around it, like under the skin almost. There we go. And you can kind of use the paintbrush to get into those little spots. Uh-oh, come on. No! This is what I get for playing around with it too much. We were doing so good. We got that part there. I am also going to use a stipple sponge. This is where people get crazy with it because depending on how fresh it is going to depend on what this looks like. And again, we go back to our FX story. If this has just happened, you're probably going to want to color match the outer edge with some foundation. And you can use a makeup sponge for it. And then you'd be fine pretty much after that. Do a little powder and you'd be good. Use a brush to finesse this. Fluffy brush, be my friend. However, if your cut is less new, you're probably going to get some more colorful skin irritation around it. So the older it is, the more dirty the environment, the more fun you can have with your colors. I'm not going to worry about setting that in because I'm going to be putting lots of other color over top of it. I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt. Yeah, but I'm going to put more color over top of this area a little bit. Cuts probably won't leave bruising. I don't know about you, but anytime I've gotten like a paper cut or something, it's never left a bruise. So I'm not going to use any bruise colors around there. I'm going to go in this like yellow all over my nail now. I'm going to go in with this brown color here. It's kind of a reddish brown, so I got to be careful with how exactly I use it. I'm going to go in there and deepen up some more of those spots even further. There you go. Now it's a little deeper. Looks a little grosser. Probably made my bone protruding out a little too much. Should have done a little less with that. Do I want to get a little bloody? Probably. I should irritate the skin just a bit around the outer part though. I'm going to assume it's been a little while. I'm going to use my finger for this. I'm going to go in the brown, going to go in the red, and then kind of just add a little bit, like a light dot around. If I am working with somebody else, A, you never double dip. B, brushes are easier for that, but they're not easier if I'm working on my face because I can't quite see all the way with brushes and I can't feel where like that edge of the brush is. I'm also going to try and mask some of these edges a little bit here. Maybe I can go with the stipple in that. I'm going to use this brown for the stipple area. The stipple is nice because it gives it a texture that isn't like a fingerprint. So this brown turns kind of purpley. So now we're seeing it's like irritated. Cool. I'm gonna let it be there for a little. Yeah, it's gross. Next we're gonna get, some fun things. Blood. The staple in pretty much every FX thing. Blood. Yeah, so I've got fresh scab and stage blood here. Stage blood is gonna be ooey gooey oozy. If you want it to be drippy and gross, you can use stage blood. This one is also mouth safe, although it's kind of old, so I wouldn't suggest using this one in a blood capsule. But they do make stage blood zesty mint flavored, so you can have very fresh bloody breath. And it's also, you can put it in a capsule, pop it in your mouth, and bite down on it to get a really good like leaky blood effect going. So I'm gonna fresh scab a little bit on the inside, but not too much because this is pretty new. And then I'm gonna go in and make it a little drippy. And again, I'm kind of keeping it in my cut area. I'm not trying to splatter it all over the place. You do a good job with your edges. If you make it look like it's coming up out of the skin and stuff, you don't really need to cover up your work. People will be too grossed out to look at it in depth anyway. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. We're gonna go in with some stage blood now. Oh yeah, we're a little sticky. It's been a while. Do I need to buy new blood? Probably. Okay, we're gonna take the top off. That's what she said. We're gonna go in, and you know what? I'm gonna scalpel it. I'm gonna just get in here for my ooey gooey oozy zesty mint flavored blood, especially since I'm not planning on sticking this in my mouth anytime soon. And the best bet for this is start in your wound and let it drip on its own. You can kind of control how the drip goes depending on how you're sitting. So if you sit leaning one way, it'll drip across your face. Blood all over my spatula. It's literally called the blood. This stuff is This is some good stuff. So this is actually just traditional. Oh no, this is deep wound blood. And it's very liquidy, but it dries and still looks wet. And that is really fun if you are going somewhere that you want it to look fresh, but you don't want it to be drippy, because the thing about using the Stage Blood is it doesn't dry. It just continues to slowly drip. You can kind of control where the drips are going a little bit, but you see, like this one I let drip on its own, and this one I kind of used a little too much force with it. Oh no, oh no. Okay, well, as you can see, it's a messy business here. Don't wear anything that you don't want to get blood on while playing with fake blood. What do you guys think? Let me know if you like these videos so far by giving them a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell to be reminded when I post. Also, it helps if you click all under the notification system. It will let you know when I post instead of kind of that sporadic will it, won't it sort of situation that we got going on now. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it with your friends if you did. Thank you so much for joining me, Naps. I will see you here next Thursday for another installation of basic Halloween how-tos. Get your creep on this Halloween. Have a fun, spooky, scary time. All right, bye.